That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Comic Reviews. I'm Sid Part 2. Joining me today is Danny the Lizard, who will undoubtedly interrupt the video. Haley may also interject from the peanut gallery over there. Hi! Middle finger. Awesome. Very, very nice, polite, ladylike. Anyway, so we have kind of a small stack of comics today. This looks bigger than it is because rather than trade, we have completed run of singles talk. And if you don't know what it is from that, since there's a little bit of glare, or you couldn't quite see the thumbnail, then you're in for a surprise later. Don't look in the description. It's not allowed. Alright, so anyway, let's go ahead and get started with Sinestro number 19. So, it seems with any Green Lantern story, the big culmination, I'm going to move you a little closer, the big culmination of a story arc seems to have to end with the Earth in imminent danger from a galactic threat, and power rings need to be distributed to various members of the population, the superhero population in particular, and supervillain population, in order to defeat the threat and help save the day. And I'm fine with that as a plot thread on its own. Getting a little old, though. Just a little bit. Every time Jeff Johns was writing the Green Lantern run, it always seemed to come back to Earth. And that's... I guess it makes it more relatable, but DC Universe Earth is so different than actual Earth. I just don't know why it always has to come back to us. It's weird. I guess it's kind of fun to see. It is, I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of cool to see all these different characters in Sinestro Corps, uniforms. Like this shot of Wonder Woman and Superman both dressed up like Sinestro Corps uniforms is pretty cool. Like Superman's cape turns into a yellow construct, and it actually kind of what I understood the justification being last time is pretty much confirmed. They cause fear, those two in particular. They cause fear without even trying because they're just so strange. She's the god of war. He is an alien from another planet with unimaginable power. So people are just naturally afraid of them, even though they only do good. And that was kind of a clever idea overall, but I don't know. There's just something about this that I'm not really digging. Like I said, I'll stick with it probably until the end of this story arc. I like the idea of Sinestro trying to replace the Green Lanterns with the Sinestro Corps. But just something feels off about it because there's too much in this that's that tries to paint them still in a good light, because Sinestro's a fascist. There's this scene where one of the priests of the Paling, as they're called, tries to kill a little girl. Stand and face the Inquisition, be purged by the blasphemy of emotion. Don't look, baby, says the mother. And then Aquila comes in and blocks it and looks all cool and stuff. And the little girl says, "It's alright, mommy, see, we're safe. A superhero saved us." It's a cool scene. It looks freaking amazing. The artists on this did fantastic work, particularly on Aquila. But this loses the idea that Sinestro's still a fascist. Treating them heroically doesn't quite work. It's just slightly off. And there's kind of that commentary, or there's kind of this running commentary Sinestro has about the benefit of fear, the usefulness of fear, how fear can replace will, how it can be used positively and stuff. And I'm just like, it's just slightly off. And no matter how close I move you, I'm not anymore in frame, and that's getting annoying. I'm sorry. I should have set the shot a little better. Fantastic video making skills of Ian Harrington. There we go. Now my head's just out of frame, but I can always sit down. So yeah, it's just off. It just doesn't have the right feel to it, and that bugs me. So it's my main problem with this book, and why I decided not to pick it up is Sinestro himself is written well, but his goals and his overall endgame or motivation are really just off. Not hugely off, but just off enough that it's problematic. So yeah, that's just my general feelings on the book as a whole. And then he gives more rings out to other characters on Earth. John Constantine, Manta Ray, or no, Black Manta, Dead Man, I guess, Etrigan the Demon. Not quite sure who that's supposed to be. It's a little distracting that all these paling priests kind of look like the Spectre. I don't know why that is. Yeah. St. Walker. Poor St. Walker. They don't know what to do with him. Meh. And then at the end he's got an indigo ring and he just kind of appears around this big-headed dude. Like going straight into the belly of the beast kind of situation. It's not bad, it's just not where I think this book should be. There needs to be more done to establish that Sinestro's methods can work at the immediate goal of removing threats, but they need to have larger consequences, and be ultimately more horrific than the original threat. Because that's what fascism is. Batman number 48. Wonder Woman number 48. No, not going to do that again. Tempted to, but this isn't bad. It's this weird mix of modern and old school. What's modern about it? One, the art. Two, the general stakes and level of actually conceivable the amount of actual violence on screen as opposed to on panel, whatever, as opposed to alluded to violence. Honestly, if you change the art, just tweaked a little bit about the story, it would fit perfectly well into a golden age, late golden age comic. But what's really kind of old school about it is everyone explains everything. There is no subtlety to this book at all. I mean, it's 22 pages. It's hard to be subtle in a complete story that's 22 pages. And if you've been watching this show for any length of time, you realize that my whole thing is that I really want more just one and done stories from comics. So I'm happy to have that. We've had that 2 issues in a row now. And there's just part of the problem with that is it comes with a lot of exposition. And you lose the ability to write subtly with that because you have to just get it done. So in this story, a Russian national scientist works on a biochemical weapon that she wants to use at the G8 summit to kill not only the President of the United States, but a bunch of other world leaders. And she wants to do this because the Americans sold her parents out to the KGB and they were kidnapped and executed and blah 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 as bioterrorists. Wonder Woman saves the president. No one gets hurt by the bomb at the rally, but as she goes to chase down the assailant, the lady throws a poison bomb into the middle of a crowd of people that causes them to go crazy and try to kill Wonder Woman. And yeah, and that helps her to get away for a little bit longer. Wonder Woman's able to get past the crowd, take down the crazy scientist lady and hand her over to police, but she has a secret, like, pellet in her teeth that she can crush to poison the police and escapes unbeknownst to Wonder Woman. Meanwhile, at the end on Olympus, something is wrong with Zeke. So that's the basic nuts and bolts of the story. And it's not bad. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that story arc by any means necessary. And Danny is on top of my comic bags. How's it going over there? You look happy. Anyway, that's the basic nuts and bolts of the story, and everything about that works. It's just really, really not subtle. Like, it's what's the line from Futurama? You can't just have characters yell out how they feel. That makes me feel angry. It's just, there's no subtlety. What are your motivations? Well, here, let me tell you my motivations. What's your evil plan? Here, let me lay it out step by step for you in speech. That's fine. That's really old school storytelling, but this book was so much better. So yeah. That's really all I have to say about it. Is it's a solid one-issue story. There's nothing like wrong with it. It deals with some issues about terrorism and the no matter how justifiable it may seem, it's not okay to hurt innocent people because you as an innocent person were hurt. And I get that. I don't know how much I feel that the book earns that point, especially considering because they're not attacking really an innocent group of people intentionally. They certainly do, or she certainly does in this, but her target is the president, so it's more of assassination than terrorism. Yeah, I think Meredith Finch kind of screwed up the wording there. Got her wires kind of crossed. It might have worked better if it was like a political rally than the G8 summit. And they talk about how the G8 summit will unbalance geopolitics and stuff. So it's terrorism, I guess, but just barely. G8 summit, for those that don't know, is a meeting of world powers on the economic front to discuss economic issues. 8 largest economies in the world meet. Yeah, I don't know. Just kind of iffy here and there, I guess. So that's that one. Oh, I don't know what's going on with David Finch. He, he had that Dark Knight book where it came out so frickin' late. and like he wanted to do the art and the writing for that. And his art looks pretty good here, but there are some scenes where I'm like, I'm not quite sure what he's drawing. Where's she at? There's one of these panels of Wonder Woman looks really freaking bizarre. Yeah, there we go. That one just looks... Something about that just doesn't look right to me. Maybe it's around, like, the neck kind of thing. Like, you got these coming out. And then there's, like, throughout the book, there's a lot of weird contortion of the body. And it doesn't look like that's a natural, balanced pose for a human being. Yeah. There's some weird art in this. But there's also some good scenes, or some good panels. I love this spread. Just panel design and everything. That's a really cool spread. Like, this on its own could be a poster if it were one of her more major villains. So, I don't know, it's kind of cool to get a villain introduced that, you know, is like a villain to Wonder Woman on the geopolitical stage as opposed to the, let me rephrase that. It's a villain to Wonder Woman on the political side of things because she's an ambassador and whatnot, as opposed to the mythological or just the straight supervillain I rob banks kind of thing. It's a very politically minded villain, so I do like that. But yeah, not bad overall, I guess. So let's go ahead and watch Ian take a drink, because he's going to try to talk without drinking through the rest of this. Kidding. Alright, so Star Wars Shattered Empire. Oh, I've got these backwards. One sec while I flip my books. Star Wars Shattered Empire. I'm not going to actually be going through these panel by panel just because it's harder to do that when I got multiple books and I'm looking through multiple books for one panel or whatever. So this is more symptomatic of the problem I was talking about last time, where there's just not much in the way of stakes. You know, I suppose this would have had stakes if not for episode 7. But episode 7's a thing now, right? So, alright, what's going on in this? First issue takes place, like, it starts during the final moments of the Battle of Endor. You know, there's planes flying around and shit, and a pilot, who we will later find out is Poe Dameron from episode 7's mother, sees an Imperial shuttle leaving the Death Star and tries to go shoot it down, but finds out it's Luke Skywalker and helps him get to the surface. She goes down to the planet to party for the night, and there's a really, really funny little blurb, a little word bubble kind of off in the background during the party scene, in which someone says, "Hey, does this meat taste funny to you too?" And that's really good, because, you know, the whole thing about Ewoks eating the stormtroopers, like, has always been kind of a question in the back of Star Wars fans' minds. And I suppose this is now your biggest confirmation that that's definitely the case, is that the Ewoks legitimately ate the stormtroopers and fed them to the rebels at the party. That's a thing now. So yeah, like, she's down there on the party, and she meets up with her husband, who is also in the rebellion, and they share the night together. I actually tweeted about this page, going, "Oh wow, Poe Dameron conceived on the night the Empire died." Nope, he already was alive at that point. I find out the next issue, but he has nothing to do with the rest of the story except for the fact that she says she has a son that's really, really young. So I don't know why you feel the need to show us two characters who are the parents of a character from the new movie doing it on the night the Empire dies, if you're not going to make that the night that the kid was conceived from this new movie, why wouldn't you do that? That just seems like a wasted opportunity to me. And so that annoyed me. But the story really does follow Poe's mother, as she goes off on different missions with people from the original trilogy. The first issue, she goes off on a mission with Han and Chewie, and her husband, and they find out about some kind of contingency plan the Emperor had to really just punish people for killing him. And that's kind of an interesting idea, but it's only prequel planets that are punished. Prequel planets are no name, never gonna hear about it again planets. It would have been a good idea to put the Battle of Jakku in here then at that point. Whatever. It's okay. So you have a bunch of prequel planets, like Naboo gets wrecked throughout this story by a bunch of typhoons or hurricanes, like a weather fuck up system is put into the planet to just absolutely decimate it. So she goes on a mission with Han, and they find out about that, so they start trying to fight the Empire again and really just kick it in the dirt to properly defeat it. And this is the Empire kind of lashing back, so this is where the fanaticism, I suppose, of the First Order kind of comes into play. And then she goes on a mission with Princess Leia to Naboo, and they shoot down the satellites that are causing the problem together. Her, Leia, and the Queen of Naboo go take care of that thing, and then Lando shows up with the Rebel fleet to take care of the Empire's minions there. And then Luke. Was it more of the mission with Luke? Or, no, Han and Chewie. More of the mission with Han and Chewie? Definitely Leia. Nah, so it's kind of... I think these two are kind of the same mission. Leia mission, and then on a mission with Luke to get into a secret Empire facility, that holds 2 trees. It's like this super, super secure base that holds 2 trees that used to be part of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. And Palpatine had them, locked away in seclusion and, held up in stasis fields or whatever. So Luke saves them, and he takes one with him to do God knows what with. Presumably help start up the Jedi Temple again, but he wasn't expecting to. And throughout the book, Poe's mother is thinking about, should I leave the rebellion now that we've won, even though the Empire is still kicking? Should I leave the rebellion and pick a planet and settle down somewhere and, just live out my life with my husband and my child? Or should I keep fighting because it's what I'm supposed to do? And she's told, what good is our fight if the very reason we're fighting doesn't get to happen because we're fighting? What good is fighting for freedom if you're gonna just keep yourself chained to the fight for freedom and not go live out your life and be happy? And that's a really interesting idea. So when Luke finds 2 trees, he tells her, he has a little talk with her about that and stuff. He goes, obviously one is spoken for, but you need to consider settling down as well and being with your family, and this tree could use a good home. And so the book ends with her planting it. And I mean, it's a sweet story. It's just there isn't much stake to anything that's going on. And ultimately, I feel like the whole her already having a kid thing would have been stronger if she had found out she was pregnant. If she'd been given the opportunity to leave the rebellion and stuff, but decided, no, there's still so much work to be done. My life can wait until we're safe and happy and everything. And instead, like, and then her getting pregnant makes her think about all these long-term things, and that's why she ends up deciding to put down the blaster and take up a nice, happy life. So there's some interesting stuff here. It's not like thrilling, and it doesn't help flesh out the politics of episode 7 anymore. So that'll do it for this week's episode of Comic Reviews, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.